Well, hello. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us and tuning in. This is another of our vendor interview series that we're running. And just before we get into that, just a quick bit of introductions for those who've not joined us before. I'm Daniel Gilby, account manager here at Xcession. Xcession, for those of you who do not know, we're a consulting, implementation and managed services partner around all things ITSM. And we've got my colleague Sunil with me. Sunil, oh, he's just having a moment.
Timing. I couldn't have timed that better, could I, Dan?
That was excellent timing. It's all in the timing.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Sunil Dougal, a CRO of Xcession. Really excited today. We have two people, not one, but two from Atlassian.
Fantastic. And let's, without further ado, bring them to the stage. Welcome, Kate. Welcome, David. Thank you very much for taking time to join us today. If you'd be kind enough just to give us a couple of introductions, just to let the audience know who you are, that would be wonderful. And just before you do that, to the audience, please give us a show of hands if you're here with us live. Leave comments, chime in with observations, ask any questions. We'll get back to you post the session. Thank you. Kate, perhaps you'd like to go first.
Sure, thank you. I'm Kate Clavitt. I am a senior technical product marketing manager at Atlassian, mostly supporting our Jira Service Management solution.
Thank you, Kate. David.
Hi, Daniel. Hi, Sunil, and everyone watching. My name's David Marlowe. I am a senior solutions manager covering Jira Service Management as well as Jira Align within Atlassian. And so, yes, been here about 3 years now. So thank you very much for having us on.
Our pleasure, our pleasure. So I know just before we dived into the studio, you had a really great question as an opener. So the floor is yours. Yeah, so you should ask it, please.
Yeah, okay, I shall. So David, Kate, thank you so much. So the question really is, obviously Atlassian has had some presence in the ITSM world for some time in the form of Jira Service Desk, but Jira Service Management is more than simply an evolution of that product as I understand it. I think it is a whole new feature set that's coming to the ITSM market and a really big play, a really big push for Atlassian. So I guess maybe we could start with a little bit of, the Atlassian view on, why the focus on this space and what are you trying to achieve or take to the market with JSM?
Good point. Good starting point as well. And so yeah, there's a good amount of history here. And so obviously Atlassian as an organization has been around for about 20 or so years now. Mm-hmm. And obviously a lot of people are very familiar with Jira software and Confluence as well. And so about 8 or 9 years ago, Jira Service Desk was born, which was much more of a kind of a request management solution with some SLAs and things like that as well. And so over time, we've gradually acquired a number of organizations to help bolster that solution. And then, as I mentioned, 3 years ago when I started, that was at the launch of Jira Service Management. So the evolution from Jira Service Desk into Jira Service Management. And that includes things like we've acquired a company called OpsGenie, which brings really, really great technology when it comes to major incident management. And there are lots of other solutions that have been built and the feature set extended. So there is an enterprise class service management solution, not for small, medium and large and extra large organizations as well. And then other things such as automation, recently additions such as AI and things like that. So for us, it's a huge complementary product when we're bringing development teams and operational teams together, very much known for playing in that development space. And so when we bring those two teams together, unleashing the potential of every team is our motto. And so that really helps ensure that it's on one platform. Things can get done a lot quicker. Things can get done a lot easier, better visibility, and lots of really good points around that can be had. And so there's a number of reasons as to why we're in that space. And it's great that we're now recommended or we're seen as leaders by the likes of Gartner as well as Forrester, and we can cover that shortly. Mm-hmm. Kate, is there anything else you want to add to that? I think
you did a really wonderful job with that. You hit all the key points. I think A lot of folks also ask us, why did you change the name? And David underlined a lot of those things. We changed the name because it's not simply a service desk. As he mentioned, it started as a request management solution, but it's truly transformed to a full service management solution, and hence the name change, as well as the various acquisitions that have really built our product out.
So if you think about your, let me just take this a step back. So as I have understood, talking to David and some of your colleagues, the target here is to build $1 billion business off the back of JSM, which is not insignificant. It's a big business, and it's a great ambition to have. If you look at what the customer base might look like when you hit that kind of scale or size, I mean, what do you see in that customer base? I mean, presumably it's not, 100 million customers spending $100 a year, right? It's, there must be something in there that you can sort of say, well, listen, this is the target that we're aiming for. This is what the customer looks like. So just give us an insight into that, because I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, so I think the way that things have evolved over the last few years, the pandemic a few years ago, doing things the way that we used to do things 8, 10, 15 years ago just isn't working now. And so organizations need to move, transform, and work the way that they want to work as well, as opposed to a solution that tells you and enforces you that you have to work in these particular teams and these silos, as opposed to collaborating across a number of groups. So that's a big differentiator for us. And so yeah, I think the customer base itself is already at around the 50,000 customer mark. So we are a long way on towards that target and through that target over time. And so the customers that we have, like I said earlier, very small, medium, large, and extra large as well. We have a SaaS platform as well as a data center offering as well. And so that also enables us to with a differentiator as well. And so the customers are varying in size. In terms of the customers out, enterprise service management is key, and it depends what some people are calling ITSM, enterprise service management, and they all kind of merge together anyway. But a lot of our customers are not just in IT, but outside of IT. I think we published a white paper recently around enterprise service management, and over 50% of our customers are in that space outside of IT as well.
So I mean, from what you've described there, David, and what has been described rather, the fact that it's bringing teams together, it's breaking down the barriers, removing the silos and so forth. That is the pure enterprise service management play, isn't it? That's what you're really driving at, I guess. Would that be fair to say, or am I?
Across the board, yeah, exactly that. And so we've in the recent Forrester Wave report for enterprise service management, we're categorized as the most strategic provider on the far right hand side in the leader area. So that's a great endorsement for our strategy. Other products come into play as well, and are all very complementary as well. So looking at that wider piece and how we're able to, like I say, scan across so many different teams and functions is again a big differentiator for us.
And what makes JSM so I love the ESM play, and I think that in our view, working with different solutions in the marketplace, right, it is, I mean, people have been talking about ESM for a very long time, but I'm not sure that they've really been going in that direction for a very long time. Now it feels like the market genuinely is moving in that direction, and it's picking up pace. So what makes JSM, aligned with some of the other technologies that Atlassian offers, but what makes JSM, Kate, so well suited to an organization that's looking to introduce some sort of strategic initiative around enterprise service management?
Sure. I think it's a couple of things. I think it's the fact that your IT and dev teams can use Jira Service Management very easily out of the box. but we also have a lot within the product for those other business teams, for HR teams, for legal teams, even for marketing teams. And so it's a lot easier to set up quickly because of these templates, because we've designed the product for all different types of business teams. But as we've mentioned before, the main benefit is there's still that visibility across the business if everyone within the business is using the same platform. It also simplifies the administration aspect of it as well. You're managing, one product versus multiple different solutions across your business.
You're getting that single pane of glass view, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think there was a price barrier to entry as well previously, whereas now we're in a better position to be able to sprint new teams up very quickly, very easily, and manage them with both autonomy, where they can do what they want to do, and also alignment, so that they're under the same kind of structure, the same security, the same way of working as the rest of the organization. Whereas beforehand, it was, this team having this product with all of this functionality might be too much for this particular team. So that's where those templates can really come in and help as well, get people up to speed very quickly with good visibility on what they need to do.
Can we just talk about the price thing? Because David brought it up, and I think everyone likes to talk about price, don't they? But it's kind of almost like sometimes when you're buying software solutions, it's the hidden behind the the closed door conversation, isn't it? Like but actually you guys are very open about pricing, aren't you? It's published. The customer can just go on the website, how many seats they need, and it gives them all the answers. So what's the thinking behind that?
As part of our values as an organization, one of the values is open company, no BS, and transparency is really key, especially for our customers as well. So when it comes to, I've never worked for a company that really publishes prices on its website, but I think it's a great thing because it's very clear set, people can understand, and really helps out with budgeting as well for the future as they expand as well. We try and keep these things as simple as possible. So main component is we're looking at an agent, somebody that's using the product and pushing things, pushing tickets along and working within the product. That's pretty much the only calculation going in terms of open transparency on how we're pricing. So we try and make it. We have different pricing levels for the solution depending on the customer's maturity and what their requirements are. But for me, it's a great differentiate, a great point, so that we can show customers what to expect and what's included as well within that, so we're not hiding that away from the customers.
Yeah, it's great to have that transparency. I would absolutely agree. They're quite unusual, really. But just to get back to the templates mentioned, can you give us an example of a template that would be like a use case outside of IT, just to give the audience something to take away? Maybe HR, or even in a different vertical, perhaps healthcare, if there's healthcare templates, or if it's more specific to business functions. I'd be interested to hear about one of the templates, or
Sure.
more than one, perhaps.
Yeah, so for example, like the marketing template, you're not going to need to request a computer or report a system outage, right? For a marketing, requesting a piece of marketing content. So that particular template will have different request types, but it will also have different workflows because, again, when we're not talking about a system outage, to mark a ticket as fixed, that's not going to make sense. So instead it will be done or completed, delivered. So you have control over the workflows depending on your use case. And then we also have subtasks that you can include as well. So say if it's a marketing piece of content, you might need a legal review depending on the content itself. And so there's the ability then to attach that subtask of getting a legal review and automatically assign that to the legal team. So I guess really where it's different is the different types of requests that are available within the template, the workflows, for the different statuses that you assign to the task or the piece of content or whatever it may be as it moves through. And then also the subtasks that you can assign to it and the automations that are available as well.
And then as a user of the solution, how would I access these? Are they freely available, or do I have to sort of download a pack, or how does that work?
It's really available. So when you go to create, we separate work into projects within Jira Service Management. So when you go to create a new project, you determine at that point, what is this project going to be used for? Is it going to be used for marketing, for legal, for human resources? And you select from there. And then you do have the ability to further customize, but what's available to you out of the box will align with that use case in a general sense.
Okay, very cool. Very cool.
And this is a big element of the time to value, I guess, conversation that you're having with customers as well, isn't it? You know, about being able to set up and run very quickly.
Yes, the implementation time is typically, of course, it varies depending on size of organization, etc. It is much shorter compared to some of our competitors. And again, I think we mentioned it before, the Forrester TEI report that came out, I believe, in 2022 does a really nice job of summarizing the various key points around that.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. It's in terms of moving from one solution to JSM, the ROI can be calculated at around about 270%. And so that's not just, you've got to look at the overall cost as well, not just the license cost, but the ongoing maintenance as well, the administration of that, the speed of setup, and getting time to value is fast is critical for us and our customers as well. So that's a good document to have a look at if you can.
So just on that then, can you give us some examples of the measures that are being taken to calculate that? What outputs are you looking at?
Things like, so license cost is a key part to that. The ongoing maintenance as well. Do you need to upgrade annually or every so often? And with our kind of microservices upgrades, it makes it a lot easier for customers where they aren't having to do a lot of that preparation and it's it's ongoing in terms of the way that that's upgraded. It categorizes off the kind of the services that you might need for the ongoing maintenance as well. So it breaks down about 4 or 5 different components to that. A large part of that is the license cost, where we publish those prices so you can see the point there. But I think with all the acquisitions that we've made, the way that we are approaching this now, it's great for customers to see a fast return so that they're up and running so much quicker.
And it does also tie in as well to the flexibility of the product. It's not a forced kind of structure that you have to abide by, so you don't have to relearn an entire structure in order to leverage Jira Service Management, which is again different from some of the other competitors in the space.
Such as naming no
some
names.
others that I have reviewed, and there's lots of. There's 400 or 500 or so. There's 400 or 500 solutions out there, so there's lots of.
There's certainly a lot. There's certainly a lot. That's interesting. I remember one of the comments that I remember one of my team in a previous role made was like, you're having to do the way the tool is making you do it because of how the tool is. To be able to not manipulate it, but mold it so that it works in the way you want it to work. There's got to be a key strength there. I would call that out every day. It's refreshing to hear that. And speaking of the key strengths, what would you say was kind of like the standout feature, or what were the top 3? What would the top 3 standout features be in your mind that when customers ask you? Are there a top 3, or is it just they're all standout features?
Yeah, I think so for me, in a lot of my conversations with customers, one of the main things that seems to surprise folks who are not familiar with Jira Service Management is how much you do get for that licensing cost in the way that our pricing is structured. So those are the 2 things that I think people have a hard time getting over. They don't fully believe it's true, but it is true. And then the extensibility of the product through integrations, Open API, as well as a lot of our marketplace offerings as well. I think that, and then the fact that it is flexible enough to use within your IT team as well as your, say, marketing team. I keep using that example because I'm in marketing and I'm a little bit self-absorbed perhaps, but so that Those tend to be the things that come up for me when I speak with customers, but I'm sure, David, there's some other things that you encounter in your conversations.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, incident management is key when it comes to how do you respond? What is the best way to respond? Who has to be involved in this as well? So yeah, that OpsGenie acquisition is really strategic, and as a standalone product, fantastic. But now it's part of Jira Service Management. That makes it even more stronger. I think the change capabilities when we're linked in with the development teams, that really helps as well. So that's all in one solution. Again, acquisitions that we've made, things like form builders as well. So it's very easy for people to build out the most appropriate set of questions to capture the most relevant information, so that can go to the right people, so that things can get selected very quickly. Things can be actioned very quickly as well. So there's so much to it for sure, and it really does depend on what the customer needs. We want to make sure it's the right fit for those customers, and so yeah, many different areas that we're discussing with customers on.
And what about the questions that you don't look forward to getting quite so much from customers, where perhaps there are some areas for opportunity on the roadmap, should we say?
Kate, do you want to take
that? Nice
Sure.
one, David.
We're an open company. So ask us a question and we'll be able to, we want to be open about it. So if there is something that somebody is super detailed on and it doesn't quite fit, that's absolutely fine. Let's work it through.
I think the thing is, David, we work with, as you know, different vendors, right? And the reason we do that is because we recognize, right, that there is no perfect solution out there, right? There are pros and cons for all of the different solutions out there. But when we talk to our customers, our sort of point of view or our position is we are trying to do the best for the customer. And openness about strengths and weaknesses is a big part of that, isn't it? You can buy this wonderful new car, but be aware that it only comes with 3 wheels as standard, right? The 4th costs you twice as much as the vehicle itself, would be a weakness, for example. But not obviously as dramatic as that. But it is important to be open, I think, as well, as you say.
Yeah, exactly that.
So, Kate, you've had some thinking time there.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think it's a few different things. So, one of the things that comes up in some ways, it's exciting to have this conversation because that you're able to really open someone's eyes. But one of the things that we seem to see quite often is folks are still thinking about Jira Service Management as Jira Service Desk. So we've got some work to do there with some awareness as to what Jira Service Management truly is capable of, and that it wasn't simply a name change that occurred when we rebranded. We rebranded for a deep reason. And so I think, we've got work to do in terms of the awareness and the things like the Forrester TEI report and the ESM wave, or sorry for using acronyms, Enterprise Service Management wave. Those are going to help us there. And I think the fact that we're performing really strongly shows that the roadmap that we've planned out and that we're working on is going in the direction that the customers want us to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would echo that.
Yeah.
And we are quite UK centric. Xcession is quite UK centric. We do some work in Europe, but it's mainly UK. And I would say that market awareness of JSM is not where I think it probably should be, based on the capability and the sort of benefits that you've talked around of the solution. So, David, you got some work to do.
Yep, definitely. That's a great opportunity, though, as Kate said.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, part of that openness is just customers can trial it as well. That's the key thing. Just have it, go to the website, get your hands, start to play with it and see what you think. And obviously working amongst our channel partners as well to make sure that we're broadcasting that message as well.
Which is exactly the question I was about to ask, which was, tell us about the ecosystem, because when customers
exactly
go
what I was going to ask, Sanel, I've been waiting 30 seconds to ask this question, and you've just stolen
Daniel,
me.
Thank you very
much.
You ask the question.
So it'd be very interesting, I'm sure, for the audience, but certainly for myself, to hear a little bit about the partner ecosystem. If you could maybe talk to us a bit about that, Kate, David.
Certainly. So we have partners are hugely important to us as an organization, for sure. We don't have an army of consultants out there looking to be on site and things. We work with partners such as yourselves from an implementation and best practice perspective as well. We have some level of advisory services, which is normally just kind of overseeing as well. But really, when the partner ecosystem is across some of the the global GSIs, the boutique IT service management providers, as well as kind of the standard resellers as well. So we've got a broad spectrum, but there's such a critical part in terms of our evolution on where we want to be. So there's the channel partner piece. We've also got the partnerships when it comes to our marketplace providers, and we have a really exciting and well-used marketplace for applications as well. So if there's stuff in the product that a customer is looking for, the marketplace is also something that is really actively utilized and and well run in terms of coming from that developer side, used to adding on additional functionality for specific areas. It's as I say, very well used and very, very broad and very wide. So on both those areas, critically important for us to continue to grow at the rate that we're growing and to get to the customers that we want to get to as well.
So there's quite a mature community around it all, yeah?
Yeah, and continuing to evolve as well. So yeah, and working with the likes of Xcession as well, really, like I say, helps us impart more of that knowledge and best of breed understanding that you've seen in customers that you've been working with over the years as well. So that really helps.
Yeah. Can we talk? You mentioned it earlier on, David, about AI, and I think it's fairly safe to say that all of the sort of major ESM vendors out there are talking about integrating generative AI capabilities into their products. So what direction are you guys taking with JSM, and are there any specific use cases you can talk about? Because there is, and this is not directed at you, this is a more generalized comment, but there's a lot of talk, but it's actually sometimes quite difficult to filter out what is just saying we do it from, and this is how you can benefit from it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so from my perspective, I think the way that we're leveraging AI and building it into our products is all under the theme of, you still need a human to do certain things. But what we want to do is take the stuff off of your plate that you don't need a human for. So, for example, we have a feature within an issue view, which is if you open a request and there's a lot of history and back and forth in that request, you can leverage AI within that request to summarize the issue for you. So within seconds, you're fully up to date as the agent of what needs to get done. That's one example. Another is we have virtual agent that we've just gone GA with recently that will field the questions like, how many times a day do you think somebody's looking for their pay slip or trying to understand how to read their pay slip? Well, virtual agent can answer that question for you and provide a knowledge base article that explains, this is how you figure out what all these different bits of information and tax codes or what have you mean on your pay slip. So that's where I think a lot of it is today. And then future leaning, we're looking to leverage AI to be a little bit more proactive instead of reactive to these requests. And David, feel free to add anything if I missed anything.
Yeah, I think Atlassian intelligence is continuing to evolve, continuing to grow, and whether it's something, communication is massively important, and so ensuring that you're communicating with the right sentiment as well can sometimes be quite useful when you're back and forth as well. So wording something in a certain way or getting something typed up in a certain way can help to accelerate. And as Kate said, some of the boring parts of the job can be taken over by the AI piece. So that really helps. We use it a lot internally, which is really helpful for me as well to get me to the right knowledge article. The amount of switch obviously over the past years to self-service as well is where it's really coming in, and it also highlights the fact that those knowledge articles do need to be updated and useful as well. So that's something that a lot of customers are working through, and where we have Confluence as a repository for that as well can really help utilize the AI capabilities there. So yeah, there's quite a lot of new ways of it coming into everyday life, which is key. But absolutely, that human interaction is still needed on those edge cases and things like that as well.
Yeah, it's an evolving technology, certainly, and I see you've adopted the acronym AI, Atlassian Intelligence. I like that, David. Very nice. We've kind of hit that 30-minute marker, guys. Really great to have you join us today and tell us a little bit, give us that kind of a glimpse of the insights into the Atlassian JSM product. Any kind of closing remarks just before we sign off and let close the session down? Anyone?
From my, sorry, Kate.
No, after you.
Just from my side, thank you very much for having us on. It's really great to talk to you and spread the word. Key for customers to give it a go, to look into it further, and speak to us as well as the key thing. But yeah, if you've got any questions, need anything else, there's lots of good resources out there to help, and certainly with yourself, Daniel and Sunil, appreciate your help.
Yeah, absolutely. And oh, sorry, Kate, apologies. Go.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was just going to say thank you for having us. It's great to have these nice, open, honest conversations. And you guys asked really great questions that I'm sure the viewers will appreciate as much as I did. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you very much for being as open and transparent, obviously following the Atlassian values there. To the audience, if you have any questions around Atlassian, JSM, anything Atlassian, in fact, please do reach out to David or Kate, or indeed you can get in touch with Sunil or myself. Thank you very much for joining us today. We hope you found this useful. Please leave a comment. If you'd like more information, just get in touch. Thanks very much, everybody.
Thanks all.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, David.
Take care.